What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new episode of VR 365. Today it is March 9th. It is about 10:33 a.m. It's almost like the old days, man. Do you remember this when I used to just be able to wake up whenever I wanted to? And then maybe around 10:30, 11:30, we used to have a show, ladies and gentlemen. It was called VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog. VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog. That is where it all started. I was basically unemployed at the time and was able to do a show pretty much every single day. Then we ended up calling it VR 365 because it was like, yeah, man, VR 365, VR gaming news and discussion 365 days a year. That was the plan. That was the original plan. Then I had to go back to work. And so that dream then finally died. But yeah, I have a rare day off of work. No, this is no Ranthony. In fact, honestly, I got to tell you guys, today's episode is going to be really kick back because I don't really have a plan. You probably saw the thumbnail image and thought, oh, this is going to be one of those old VR 365 episodes, man, where he really gets into it and covers things in a deeper kind of a fashion. But actually, that's not the case. This is going to be a more free-flowing episode. I did spend time on the thumbnail. I spent legitimate time on the thumbnail. Did not spend a lot of time on anything else. So this episode brought to you by Wingstop. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely brought to you by Wingstop. It is going to be much more chill, much more relaxed. I am actually going to be looking to chat today. And I do want to get your guys' opinions. And actually, I've also got to admit, I don't really know everything that's going on in the VR. I'm not up on everything. I know Zuck did an interview with the information, and I saw some of the stuff he talked about, and I haven't heard that interview. So I haven't read a transcript of it or heard it. I've seen some quotes of it. But, we'll try to do the best job that we can. I will try to do live on the scene analysis, and we will check out some of the more popular VR gaming websites that are out and about and check out their information and the stuff that they got. All right, so the Climb 2, you can see that trailer that is running over there in the upper window. And I have zero take on the Climb 2. I have no take on it. Although, actually, wait a minute. I do have one take. I do have a take on the Climb 2. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me see. I do actually have a take on Climb 2. Let's go ahead and go over to the Webinator. Yeah, so I don't really have a take on, should you buy the Climb 2 or not? But I will tell you this. This deal right here, where you pay $10 more and you get Climb 1, it's 33% off. That deal is basically a straight up gun to your head saying, you're an idiot if you don't have the Climb, if you've never played the Climb, and you buy the Climb 2 for $29.99 and you don't cough up the extra $10 to get the Climb 1, I mean, dude, that is a gun to your head, man. That marketing hurts because you might have been like, yeah, the Climb is looking pretty hype. The Climb 2, it looks like it's this new level of entertainment on my XR2 chipset. But then you go to buy it and you're like, oh man, they got this bundle deal. And I never happened to buy the Climb for some unknown reason. And now this bundle deal, oh, I gotta pay the extra $10. You pretty much have to pay the extra $10. I don't know how anybody is going to get around that. So that is pretty much the only take I have on the Climb. It is $29.99. Well, actually, I do have more of a take on the Climb in general. So the first game, the very first Climb on Oculus Rift, there's a history to this game, the very first game on the Oculus Rift, because basically I always thought people on the Oculus Rift were crazy for liking this game so much, the original Climb, and being willing to pay so much money for it. But the thing was, there was this rabid fan base in the early Oculus days that were like, oh, the climb is the best, man. And it was crazy expensive, never went on sale. And I never ended up playing it for a long time. I got a CV1 during the summer of Rift, and it was crazy expensive. And then eventually, finally, there was a really good deal. Got the climb for like maybe $10 or something on like some special discount that it had very briefly, I think. And ended up playing the climb, and I'm like, what are people tripping off of? Like, what is so great about this? Because the problem is you're just putting your hands up and you're going like this and you're jumping over and you're grabbing. Like, it's cool, but like an entire $30, $40, $50 game off of that? I don't know. To me, and then also, I never got the fear of heights too. There's a problem with this game. Your feet need to be dangling. You need to play this in some kind of bungee cord situation where they can actually get you off of the ground and you're suspended off of the ground somehow. Because with my feet firmly planted on the ground, I just don't get that climbing immersion. What I'm really looking forward to, and I would be absolutely amazed if nobody has done this in real life, but you know those climbing walls that you go to where you can pay money and you get strapped up and everything and you're climbing a fake mountain essentially? Has no one married VR with that? Has no one like got an Oculus for Business set up and had programmers like program in that mountain wall so it's like you're climbing up some Arctic wall and you're in VR but you're inside a wall climbing place? Has nobody done that? Because, oh my God, if nobody's done that, you're crazy. Like, that's just a natural. It's one of the first things I ever thought of when it comes to location-based VR entertainment. If anybody isn't doing that, you are crazy. Now, I do wonder, though, the tracking going to be like shaky and stuff? Because it's got to be real tight if you're climbing up the side of a mountain and you're really trying to get immersed like that. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the climb. Let's see what some folks in chat are talking about the climb. It is kind of the big release this week right now. Let's see. Climby, still really good climbing game. Oh, tons of stuff in the workshop. Are you talking about Climby like the actual platformer game or the climb? Okay, yeah, see. Simplex bought Climb on 75% off sale. Yeah, that's probably when I got it. That's probably when I finally got the original Climb. Lars says, I've never understood this mentality. If I buy this Climb game, if I'm only going to buy the sequel, I have other things to do than play two similar games right now after each other. Sure, like I'm not saying you have to play Climb 1, but the opportunity to just get it for $10, I feel like it's just, I don't know. It's like serious pressure for me as a consumer. That's just this weird consumer pressure. Maybe I'm in my own world with that. Anthony just thought of a genius new VR peripheral. Okay. Have a climbing wall in my garage, but no Quest. Yeah, somebody should get on that. I have a vision, ladies and gentlemen. I have a legitimate vision of an incredible location-based VR arcade center that you would walk into it. There would be this big wall climbing mountain that's off to the right. And so you'd walk in, you'd be on like a second level when you walk in. And then you're looking down and it's like this whole entertainment center. It's almost like the modern day version of like an indoor miniature golf arcade freaking setup, just really badass, right? Giant mountain climbing wall over to the right with a whole bunch of people that are climbing the wall in VR, people spotting them and everything. And then all kinds of other different little interactive games that you can play. Like, I definitely have this idea for being in a jail cell. Because, see, when it comes to location-based entertainment, you really want to think about the smallest possible space somebody could occupy and still be incredibly highly entertained. And ideally with multiple people going in and multiple people going out. So like 4 versus 4 in some type of multiplayer game, that would be really cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and switch up, because in the news, of course, it is all about this HTC news. And I'm kind of learning the news the same thing as you guys. I've seen pretty much most of the stuff that we've seen so far, but let's go ahead and let's bounce over to the webinar here. And let's go ahead and see some of this HTC information. So I don't know that I've seen this brand new information right here, or this one. I didn't check this one out. So HTC now seems to be teasing Vive lip tracking. Lip tracking, huh? Express yourself. Yeah, so I haven't, no, I did hear something about that. This like drop down piece. What is up with that? Yesterday, the company dropped a second teaser tweet, this time with the not so subtle message, express yourself. Lip tracking with an image of the lip tracking module attached to the Vive Pro headset. Yeah, I mean, that's cool, but like, that's not, unless that's built into their new headset, I don't see why that's a big deal. HTC revealed the lip tracking module for the Vive all the way back at GDC 2019. I don't ever remember this thing. But yeah, this is the problem. It's like aftermarket attachments. This is my thing with peripherals. Like, peripherals are never really going to do it. It's cool to like try to add something and make it kind of cool to add something unique like that. But peripherals ultimately are not the way to go. We want things built from the ground up. I was just trying to see. Yeah, so, we've seen all this, like, it's your move, and does define your VR persona with a weapon, and we've heard comments that this is not actually really going to compete with, the Oculus Quest, is apparently the rumor. And why would it? Why would it compete with the Oculus Quest? Because that's a game that it can't win. Let's see. So let's just see what this says here. HTC Vive to release next-gen standalone in 2021, but not a Quest competitor. Okay, so yeah, Alvin Wang Graylin. Okay, so what they're talking about is this quote here, I believe. There's this quote here. He was, this is like last week, I believe. He was on an online discussion based on virtual reality, and he gave this comment. He says, our next generation of standalone, we're going to have one this year. It's going to be a great product. I can't give any specs about it, but I think you'll find it all the prospects that is better than what we have today, and is probably better than what there is today from any provider. Okay, and I commented on this on the Next Dimension podcast, that when you say probably, that's somebody that's honesty. That's honesty from Alvin Wang Graylin. Like, he knows what the Quest 2 is and what the Quest is, and he knows like what they're legitimately bringing to the table, and he knows how much that has advanced things. And so it's like, this is like a Freudian slip. Like, you're talking and you're like, it's probably better, because that's not lying. That's not lying. Like, their headset is probably going to have certain advantages in certain categories, but he also had to throw that probably in there. But yes, they're basically saying that that it's not really going to be competing directly with the Oculus Quest. And here in America, honestly, that is probably the way to go. Trying to compete directly with the Oculus Quest is probably not a smart move, because I just don't think they have the financial resources to actually do that and to follow through with that. But let's back up for a second and let's just talk about HTC Vive in general, because why don't we talk about the rise and fall of HTC? Somebody needs to do a documentary about the rise and fall of HTC, because you want to talk about a corporation that was handed something on a silver platter of unbelievable proportions and has squandered that opportunity with bad decision after bad decision. It's just the reality of HTC, man. They're never going to be sending me any free products. I know that, and I'm okay with that. And I let it wash away from me. So I'm able to talk 100% freely and bluntly. And I can tell you that HTC was handed a golden goose. They were handed a golden goose, and they took it outside and they fed it dog food, and they didn't treat it properly. And that goose is barely alive, man. So Valve needed a partner to bring this thing to fruition. Valve didn't want to create the first headset. They didn't want to start it off like that, but they wanted a partner. And they found a partner in HTC. And in the early days, ladies and gentlemen, if we go back to the year 2016, in the early days, there was Oculus and there was HTC, and that's what it was all about. It was all Oculus and it was all HTC. It was like Nintendo and Sega. It was like a straight up thing. It was like Pepsi and Coke. Oculus was Coke and HTC was Pepsi. And I would be on different message boards. I mean, I would be on like NeoGAF, like the NeoGAF forums, right? And there were lots of people on the NeoGAF forums that honestly, they wanted VR to just die and get over with already. Like they wanted VR so dead, and there's still tons of them to this day that still want VR dead. And they basically believe that all VR is a giant distraction. It's a gimmick. It's going nowhere. Get back to making the flat games. Why are you distracting my companies and wasting their resources? That's what all these people would say all the time. NeoGAF, incredibly harsh in their anti-VR sentiment. Now, over the years, that has changed, and it's really started to change even more recently. But back in 2016, it was very much like that. But the one thing that I noticed in all of these threads with people hating on VR, they were always mentioning the HTC Vive, the Vive, the Vive. It was a name brand. It had recognition. It had this name brand value. Like people knew, people that weren't even VR people, they knew about the HTC Vive. It had recognition, name brand value. People knew about it. That dude almost looks like Zuck in a Vive commercial. But yeah, and it's just amazing to me that everything was just aligned so perfectly for them. And they just dropped the ball after that. Every headset that they've brought out since then has been one bad decision after another, pretty much. I mean, well, it's just steadily gone down. And then obviously the Cosmos, of course, we eventually got the Cosmos. And that headset, see, I don't know why anybody has any excitement for this HTC standalone, to be totally honest with you, because what is their track record? What have they proved? So I don't know why there's this enthusiasm, but I think what it is people remember the glory days of HTC. Now, HTC does have some things. They have some things that help them out. And one of the things that helps them out is, of course, Viveport Infinity. They have what I believe is quite honestly the best VR product out there, bar none. Like, this is the VR product to have. Viveport Infinity is incredible. In fact, I'm going to be talking a little bit later in this episode about a brand new game I've been playing on Viveport Infinity. It's not really that brand new, but it's brand new to the Viveport Infinity. And let me tell you, anytime there's a brand new Viveport Infinity game, you want to fire it up because you're paying that monthly fee, baby, and you want the value for it. But Viveport Infinity as an ecosystem is a great ecosystem, and this is something that they can lean on. And like I said on the Next Dimension podcast on MRTV, I made this comment that, what if a VR headset company like actually worked directly with somebody like Guy Godin on integrating virtual desktop into their new standalone, because when you have virtual desktop running at a high level, you basically now have wireless VR. You have wireless VR for PC VR, and you don't necessarily, like, what does Oculus have to do with that? So if you can come out with a rival headset that can connect wirelessly to PC VR and work as good as Quest 2s are working and completely bypass the Facebook question, that's the other thing. There's a couple of little angles that HTC has in terms of this battle. Now, the big angle, of course, is price, and that's where this all falls apart. HTC cannot compete. $299, I mean, they can't get anywhere near $299. And that's why, like, I don't know that HTC, their standalone, like, we'll be lucky if it's $499, I think. So, you know, you can't expect, let's see, I'm looking for, hold on here. You just can't expect, Viveport. Yeah, you just can't expect them to come out with there's no way they can match $299. I don't even think they can make one for, I think it's going to be $499 if we're lucky. So because of that price factor, they just can't compete on price. So because of that, I feel like that's where they're not competing with the Quest thing, because they just can't. They simply cannot do that. There are a couple of slight advantages, though, that HTC does have. There are a couple of angles that they can go after here. First of all, just like I was talking about Pepsi and Coke, I always talk about this. What is the Pepsi to Oculus's Coke? Well, in the standalone market, there's nothing like that. In the standalone market, Oculus is essentially the Nintendo Entertainment System back in 1987 and 1988. Sheer dominance, just absolute dominance in this category. Nobody's competing with them whatsoever. And there is a pent-up demand for a viable headset within range that you don't have to swallow that Facebook pill. There is a pent-up demand for that, and that is one area where HTC can be like, oh, you know, well, we do have this one area that does help us. Now, the question is, though, exactly how many people are we talking about here that would pay possibly a $200 premium? Because I'm talking $499. They would pay $200 to get a headset that is going to be able to do everything that the Quest 2 is capable of, is going to have some capabilities that are beyond Quest 2, but is unfortunately going to be locked out of the Climb 2 and all the bevy of exclusive material. Facebook has so much exclusive material. Now, there could be a roundabout way. No, but not the Oculus games. That's where this becomes a really hard problem, because all the Oculus created exclusives that are running off the XR2 and they're running off the 835, that's a problem for this standalone headset, because the standalone headset might be able to connect to the PC and get into the Rift account, and you can play Rift games, but you're not going to be able to play these native Quest games, these more advanced Quest games that are going to continue to come down the pipeline, and you're paying a $200 premium. All of this just to tell Facebook, F you, which is great, but man, that's a lot of money. I'm trying to think, I'm trying to ballpark in my head how many thousand people. Is it 100,000 people? Are there 100,000 people in all of North America, Canada, USA, Mexico, all of North America, 100,000 people that would pay a $200 premium to get a standalone headset that might work awesome with PC, wirelessly, will also be able to play. Now, here is the one angle, though. Another angle we have to remember, too, is all of these developers that have spent all this time and all this money and all this energy. Let me go ahead and switch up this trailer here for a second, because we're kind of burning that into the ground. All these people that have spent all this time, all this energy making various games, they want an opportunity. For example, For example, a new game that was announced, Song in the Smoke by 17-Bit. Okay, now this is coming to PlayStation VR. It's coming to a lot of places. But don't you think a company like 17-Bit and all these other different companies that have made these really dialed in productions for the Oculus Quest, wouldn't they like to leverage all that work and effort in another ecosystem and have a chance to make money in another opportunity? And I think HTC does have a beautiful opportunity here where if they could get the best of the best, if they can go look at the Oculus Quest library of third-party games that Oculus does not own the rights to, and try to rally all of these companies. And some of these companies might already be a part of Viveport Infinity with their PC VR games. For example, think of like Pixel Ripped 1989, Pixel Ripped 1995, a company like that. They've already got a relationship with Viveport. They've done Quest versions, and let's remember, Pixel Ripped 1989 isn't on the store, like in an official capacity that people have to actually buy Pixel Ripped 1995 to be able to buy Pixel Ripped 1989 as DLC. Now you have an alternative store where Pixel Ripped 1989 gets its proper headlines. You know what I mean? Same thing with games like To the Top. To the Top, whatever happened to the Top? They're not on Oculus App Lab. You have to go through SideQuest. So there should be this alternative platform that gives people another alternative. It also gives developers a chance to sell their games additionally. And if HTC was incredibly forward-looking with this thing and they contacted all these companies and they said, look, we know without a shadow of a doubt that Viveport Infinity is the best product in VR gaming altogether. We know it. It's the best value for any gamer. It's the Netflix of VR gaming, and it works, and it's great. It's outstanding. I can't even, dude, Viveport Infinity is such an effing deal. If you play PC VR games and assuming that it works with your controllers and your headset. I got a CV1. It works freaking great with that. It really is the Netflix of VR. Like it legitimately is the Netflix of VR. And no one else is going to do that. Oculus is never going to do that. Sony is never going to do that. Apple isn't going to do that. No one's going to do that. No one's going to give away the store in the way that Viveport Infinity is giving away the store. But if Viveport Infinity can get enough people, a critical mass, if they could pass that tipping point with a critical mass of subscribers, and it's keeping track of how long did you play this game, how long did you play that game, and that's how the developers are getting their cut. Maybe prices need to be a little bit higher. Maybe the monthly plans need to be a little bit higher. Maybe there should be a couple different layers of Viveport Infinity, like Viveport Infinity Platinum and Viveport Infinity Gold. But at some point in time, this could be a great ecosystem where everybody benefits, the end consumer benefits. Imagine if you had an Oculus Quest, all right, and you could pay for a $30 plan every month that gave you basically unlimited smorgasbord of everything on the Quest store. That's a great opportunity for somebody that gets a Quest. They get to sample all kinds of things. It's a smorgasbord, right? Well, they can do that on mobile. That is the one advantage that HTC has with this idea, this concept. Now, of course, anybody else could copy this in a New York minute. Sony could copy it. Oculus could copy it. Apple could copy it. Xbox, when they finally get involved with VR, they could copy it. And Xbox has done that, with their game service. Sony has done that in a way, but, very limited games. So maybe these companies will kind of copy it, but they won't copy it in the way that Viveport Infinity is doing it with this Netflix of VR thing. And that is one tremendous advantage that they have. Another thing that we could ponder is, well, what about technological advances? Are we going to get some technological advances with this headset that are going to take it into a whole new world? And I don't think so, really. Let's see here. I'm going to try to grab let me grab another trailer. We can talk about like what kind of technological advances. So, it's highly rumored that this is going to be an XR2 based platform. And obviously we know that Qualcomm did come up, like this was a big deal. Remember the Quest Killer? Remember I had shows about the Quest Killer. And Qualcomm laid the foundation. Qualcomm has a blueprint for a Quest Killer. They basically have these prototypes. Qualcomm has done this a number of times. They create a prototype. They say, look, we're not going to bite the hand that feeds, so we're not going to directly compete with Facebook. We're not going to directly compete with Apple. We're not going to directly compete with this company. We're not going to directly compete with that company. We make way too much money selling all of our chips to them and supplying them a never-ending supply of chips and processors and coprocessors. We're not going to bite the hand that feeds, but what we're going to do is create a badass prototype that if some outside company wanted to go that extra mile and follow that, they would be able to do it. And so this Qualcomm, the Qualcomm prototype, this was a prototype that people got to sample, like various people in the media. Does anybody remember this? Does anybody remember this? There were these headsets. They were 2880 by 2880. So even the Reverb G2, even the mighty Reverb G2 would be put to shame. Okay, so there's people with Reverb G2s, a small number of them that say, I can still barely find screen door on a Reverb G2. I can barely find screen, just barely. Most experiences never see it, but I cannot tell a lie. I cannot truthfully say that the Reverb G2 has completely 100% eliminated screen door. Well, if this HTC headset jumps to 2880 by 2880, this new higher level of resolution, now at that point, I think screen door will at that point, I think that is enough resolution, and I think screen door is absolutely dead. So they could have a resolution advantage over all other headsets currently available because we haven't gotten any of these headsets. There are these 2880 by 2880 headsets. Scott Stein put one on his head. These people tried it, and they said screen door was completely and totally gone. Now, this thing has 7 concurrent cameras. We've got these rumors about possible body tracking. You know how excited I am for body tracking, not from like a VR chat perspective, but for me, it's more of an immersion perspective. But what I really want with that is I want that magical green screen without a green screen effect where we can actually put our physical bodies in VR with whatever we happen to be wearing or whatever tattoos or whatever crazy stuff we got on, like rings and bracelets and stuff. Everything is just bam. It's just us in VR. I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I seriously doubt that this will have those kind of capabilities, but you got to wonder, will it have any kind of advancements that could take it, make a few of the Quest 2 people feel a little bit crunchy for the extra money that they're going to have to pay. Let's see here. So I want to switch up and... Let me see, I just wanted to switch up into a different trailer. Qualcomm viewer info. Qualcomm XR viewers. Yeah, so let's see here. I did want to go ahead and check out, let's see what chat's talking about, because I've been yapping for a long time about this. Let's see what some chat people are saying. Forza just released on Steam. Just purchased, will be trying Vorp X later, fingers crossed. Forza Horizon, one of my all-time favorite games. The original Forza Horizon on like Xbox 360, I think. Oh my God. Yeah, and Greg's VR. We need Forza Horizon in VR badly. Just the original Forza Horizon was incredible. Xi Jinping says the XR2 on Quest 2 is undervolted and underclocked. Yeah, there is that point as well, too. There is that point as well that the XR2 that is on Quest 2 is not being utilized to the absolute apex of its capability. The problem is, though, even if that is absolutely true, and I don't deny that it possibly could be true, but even if that is true, games are going to be made for the Quest. You know, that's the bottom line. Like games are going to be made for the Quest, and that's all there is to it. And so I don't see a lot of people using like extra cycles of the XR2 just because they can, unless HTC like pays them additional money and like really freaking encourages them to do such a thing. But otherwise, I don't really see that happening. Lars says, it's a rich man's Quest 2. Yeah, but Lars, my question for that is, okay, it could be a rich man's Quest 2, except let's go to the Quest store. Or actually, you know what? Let's go to VR game rankings. We'll take a look at the top 150 of Oculus Quest games. Top 150 Quest. Yeah, let's go to VR game rankings, which is still alive, despite the fact that I am losing my ass on this thing. Now, we have not updated the Oculus Quest rankings in quite some time. Apologies for that. But let's go to here. Let's go here to the webinar. So this is a top 150 Oculus Quest games. And so the question is, well, which of these games could be on the Vive Move? Let's call it the Vive Move. Pistol Whip on the Vive Move. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners on the Vive Move. Population 1, Super Hot, Space Pirate Trainer, In Death, Moss, not Echo VR, Red Matter, Five Nights at Freddy's, Onward, Phantom Covert Ops, Until You Fall, Rakuten X, not Vader Immortal 1. Okay, so what have they lost in the top 20 of this ranking? They don't have Beat Saber, they don't have Echo VR, they don't have Vader Immortal 1. Tetris Effect could get over there, although I doubt that's going to happen. I doubt that Enhanced Games and Monstars are going to put Tetris Effect on a Vive Move. See, that's the problem. A lot of, like, yeah, they could go after Pistol Whip. They could go after Cloudhead Games. So HTC could contact Cloudhead Games and Skydance Interactive and Big Box VR and Super Hot Team and Eye Illusions and Super Bright and Polyarc and Vertical Robot and Stillwell Studios and Downpour Interactive. They can contact all these people and say, hey, we've got this amazing platform. We've got the mobile version of Viveport Infinity. It's going to be incredible. But like some of these companies might be like, like, yeah, can you give us an incentive to want to go over there? You know, even though it might take them like a week or maybe 2 weeks to basically port it over, assuming this other platform is running Android and it's running the XR2. They should try to bend over backwards and try to make it as easy as humanly possible for Quest developers to move their games over, to have their games also on this additional platform. But like Jurassic World Aftermath, not coming over. Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, not coming over. Shadow Point, not coming over. The Climb, not coming over. Journey of the Gods, not coming over. Robo Recall, not coming over. Lies Beneath, not coming over. Now some of these, like Lies Beneath, I don't know if like that's going to be an exclusive forever and a day. Myst, like we know Myst is a timed exclusive. It's coming to PC a little bit. Vader Immortal 3. But Face Your Fears, not coming over. You know, so, I mean, there's games. Vader Immortal Episode 2, not coming over. The Under presents maybe coming over, actually. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games they can still go after. But then you get into like experiences. Like if I go to the top 25 free Quest experiences. See, it's not just games, ladies and gentlemen. This HTC Vive Move Portable is not going to have first contact. It's not going to have first steps. I don't know about Anne Frankhouse, but it ain't going to have Dear Angelica. It's not going to have, like, a lot of this stuff, a lot of these experiences here, like Henry, Traveling While Black, Home After War, you know, a lot of these different things, like you can only get these things on Oculus right now. Like if we go to Oculus Rift top 50 free games, like a lot of the experiences are only on Oculus. You know, a lot of them, like Blade Runner 2049. So you'd be locked out to some of this stuff. But the good news is, of course, for the PC-based stuff, you probably would be able to get into your account and get all the PC-based stuff. But it would be all the Quest exclusively developed Quest content that would be, unless you get it, like unless somebody like hacks the Quest. I don't know if this is possible. Like in the days of piracy, right? You know, people would steal everything. Do people steal everything? Actually, here's a great question for chat. I don't steal anything ever. Like I really try to avoid. I don't want anything for free. I don't steal free cable. I don't have an Amazon Fire Stick. You want a little rant for you? I got a rant for you. I don't do any of that stuff because I'm not going to say karma's real, bro. I'm not going to say karma's real. But what I will say is, have you noticed people that copy every movie under the sun and they have an Amazon Fire Stick and then they're driving home and they've got a flat tire and then they're driving home and their transmission goes out? I'm telling you, karma is real, baby. And so I've backed away from any of those sorts of things. I am not holier than thou. I've done my share of awfulness in the past. But I do not steal anything at all, period. I don't download anything, and I have no plans to. And look, there's no need. My argument against piracy is owning the candy store is not a good thing. Owning the candy store is the quickest route to get sick of candy. Period. Dot. If you own the candy store, you're going to be sick of candy. We know how it works. So you don't want to have everything. It's actually bad. Less is more. It truly is a true thing. Less is more. But if there is piracy, and if somehow they can get these Quest, like you could get the Climb 2 somehow onto the PC and then you could put it on this Vive Move and it's running perfectly fine. You're playing freaking Robo Recall Unplugged on this HTC Vive Move. I mean, if all of that is happening, like, well, it changes the game for like the pirates out there and people that want their headset not to be running that Facebook software. So, I mean, there's an opening here. I just don't see it to be a wide enough opening. And then from a pricing standpoint, it's pretty much a no-go as far as the whole thing is concerned. So I don't really honestly see like HTC as a legitimate threat in the Western Hemisphere. In the Western Hemisphere, nah. Okay. I mean, in North America at least, no. HTC is not a threat. I'd love to be proven otherwise, and you know, I've given them two key ideas: the mobile Viveport. See, if they haven't done the mobile Viveport thing, then you might as well lose all faith in them whatsoever, because that's the one angle that they really would have. So if they haven't done that, I've lost all faith. And then honestly, if they were really freaking savvy about it, they would have talked to somebody like Guy Godin. Oculus doesn't own Guy Godin. Oculus could have owned Virtual Desktop, though, at one time, and they could have bought it for a relatively decent price. I guarantee you, Zuck wishes he had that one back, because they kind of insulted him with an offer. He said, nah, I'm good. And now look at how nice he's sitting. He is sitting pretty. And they could have owned that. It's not locked in. Like, I don't think he has any exclusive contracts with Oculus. Like, I believe virtual desktop could end up on another platform, and imagine how well that could work with delivering all these PC games via Viveport Infinity. That deal that they have, that's an entire stream of content that could come to this little wireless headset, and all you need is an internet connection, a viable internet connection, and they could have put a Wi-Fi 6E chip in there, make it a little bit better for Wi-Fi. So there's possibilities. Let's see what folks are talking about here. Although, hold on, let me switch this trailer, because god damn have I ran that trailer into the ground. And I'm gonna go and just look for some game trailers. Hold on. Yeah, let me just throw a different trailer on for a minute here. All right, so let's see. We need Forza Horizon in VR. Let me scroll down. Rendered reality. It's so nice to see a VR 365 episode today. It's like the good old days when I would watch VR 365 instead of work. Yeah, the good old days. Remember freaking, what's his name in the backyard, the lawnmower guy? Job, there it is. How's Job doing these days? Like, it slipped out of my head for a second. Job, yeah, remember Job? Because anytime I would do a show on Wednesday, you just never knew when dude was going to arrive. And like, I swore that every time the lawnmower guy would arrive on Wednesday, like, I swore that people could hear it really well, and you really couldn't hear it. You'd have to have headphones on, and you'd have to have the volume just completely blasting to be able to actually hear a faint sound of the lawnmower. But it bothered me so much that it would just completely throw my game off. Like, whatever, I could be in the most epic rant ever, and then the freaking lawnmower kicks off, and it would completely ruin everything. Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, dude is still banging away every Wednesday. Luckily, today is a Tuesday. Today is a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. So Job is not there. Paulo Triani says Viveport is used for their Focus headset. Okay, yeah, I've never used the Focus. I don't know anything about it, but yeah, they should. But I'm saying wirelessly. Like, see, that's the thing. Wires, man. No one wants a freaking wire. The funny thing is, so you remember that rant I went on about Sony and all of that? It's amazing how you people turn, because like, people will talk shit like, oh, Anthony's talking so much crap about Sony and they made a mistake because they didn't do wireless, and Anthony's talking all this garbage. But the thing is like, that cord, nobody wants a cord. Nobody wants a cord. Because I've been seeing it all over the internet. Like, there will be these different threads where random people start talking about VR, and like, they'll be like, yeah, but I can't use a cord. I can't. No one wants a cord. A cord is so 2019. It is 2018. It is 2020. It's maybe even 2021, but 2022? Like, I can't believe people are forgiving them for the cord. Like, the cord's unforgivable. I'm sorry. Delay it an additional year. Figure it out, Sony. Figure it out. Have an extra dongle or something. The cord is unacceptable. But it's funny, you get into all these other different talks where people are talking about headsets, and people are like, yeah, I can't go back to a wired headset. I just can't do it. Once you've tried and people are like, wired headsets, that's the past. Wireless is the future. And I'm like, yeah. Where were all you people when everybody was getting mad at me for shitting on Sony, talking about them having a cord, and basically saying, like, that is no bueno, homie. You dropped the ball on that one. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go to the webinator, and let's go back to Upload VR. So we talked about HTC for a long ass time, and now we should talk a little bit about Zuck. I'm not seeing a good Zuck here, so let's go to like Verge or something, because I'm pretty sure Zuck is on the Verge. Some of the quotes that Zuck said. The Verge. Do you guys like The Verge? I like The Verge. I'm pretty down with The Verge. Like, this is one of the things I check out. I mean, The Verge and Engadget, pretty much same exact thing, right? They basically copy each other one for one. But yeah, so Zuck was on a podcast and he basically was talking about what they want to do. Sorry, I should have had this set up. Where's Zuck? Did I might have already passed it. Let me just go. Zuckerberg. The Verge, Zuckerberg, realistic avatars. Yeah. So here it is, man. So Zuck was on The Verge, and he wasn't on The Verge. I'm sorry. Zuck was on the information in a podcast, and he talked about a number of the things that he's really excited for. For example, one of the things that I'm really excited about for future versions is getting eye tracking and face tracking in. Because if you're really excited about social presence, you want to make sure that the device has all the sensors to really kind of animate realistic avatars so you can communicate well like that. And that is absolutely true. And so that's encouraging. You know, it's very encouraging that is their plan, because it's one thing that, you know, they definitely should lean into this. Like their advanced avatars, if they can actually make those advanced avatars a reality and bring that in with their next headset. So they're talking about like tracking facial muscles and eye tracking as well. You know, and we've seen the various technology they have. The problem is this guy here, like they're showing this guy on CBS this morning, and you can see that he's being filmed by like 1 million different cameras. And then they show it. So it's like, well, how is all of this going to work when they actually implement this? What is it really going to look like when they actually implement this? But they are using their machine learning, you know, they're using their algorithms, and basically they're going to try to get a scan of your face. But yeah, we're not going to be able to enter in those giant booths there with like 50 million cameras covering every little angle of our face. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to translate. But they've got plans for this, you know, and that's what they're hoping to do with these advanced avatars. We've also, of course, we've seen their body tracking, the advanced body tracking that they're capable of. But this really is a huge game changer. It's really so sad that this it's too bad that 2020, like, wasn't like 4 years in the future. Like the technology that we have 4 years in the future wasn't in 2020, because oh my God, would VR have captured the entire world if we really had the kind of telepresence that's capable with this kind of tracking. I mean, we saw all these videos, right, for Microsoft Mesh. You know, everybody making a big deal about Microsoft Mesh. There was nothing spectacular about Microsoft Mesh. They just come up with a name of something, they show a couple of Pokemon running around, and it's a big friggin' deal. But basically, everybody's doing this spatial awareness stuff. But in terms of like these avatars, the way it's tracking the body, because there's so much information that gets conveyed non-verbally, and all the different movements that we have, the way we're leaning in a particular direction, we turn our body a little bit this way, we turn it that way, we have our legs spread open wide, we're all closed up. I mean, we all have different things that we're expressing. You can see 10 people just standing on a street, not saying anything, and all of them are expressing something. So it's the body language, and that's what we're going to be able to pick up with the future of this. Of course, we're going to need body tracking to be able to do that. That's rumored in this new HTC Vive Move headset, some kind of down-facing cameras for skeletal tracking. This looks like they're doing like external skeletal tracking. So we'll have to see what the future is for that from Oculus's standpoint. But yeah, Zuckerberg is talking about bringing in those advanced avatars. And so I'm definitely going to have to listen to that full podcast and see completely everything that he had to say. But it's an absolute no-brainer. And if they had that during the pandemic, during like all of 2020, like if we really had that, because I always make the criticism about Weeble Wobbles all we have is Weeble Wobbles. Like if you go to Big Screen Beta or Rec Room or whatever these things, it's like little cartoon Weeble Wobbles. And I personally believe, like the way I think about that is the way I think about like sports in 360. Like the Weeble Wobbles and like the sports that we have in 360, honestly, I think they're doing more harm than they're doing good. You know, because I think people see that stuff and like some people are totally entertained and some people are totally enthralled, and just being in another room with a little Weeble Wobble is such a breakthrough experience to them. And I'm happy for those people. I'm glad that they're completely blown away by it and they think it's so next gen. But I know there's people that I would show that stuff to and they'd be like, this is VR? This is why you like VR? But if I showed them like these people's faces, like if they saw my face looking like that and my hands moving around and everything, and they're basically talking to like a slightly computerized version of me, and they saw my body expressions and my movements, I mean, this would change the game completely. This is deny distance. Like deny distance is a really legit thing. Once you can put a human with that level of detail where you just, you know, dude is there. Dude is like, think what this is going to do for dating apps. This is truth in dating apps, ladies and gentlemen. People are going to have to find some kind of special filter to fake their body and have some other body being tracked, because this is the future of dating apps. You'll know exactly how tall somebody is. You'll know how they stand and lean on something. I mean, this is the future of any kind of contact with any human. And this is how you get 1 billion people in VR. This is the path to getting 1 billion people in VR. You just create the new telephone of the future. This, like, whatever happened to the freaking video phone, by the way? I know we have FaceTime and everything, but like we never got the future that I saw like in Total Recall and all those old movies where like everybody would have a phone in their house that would have a screen, and you would always see the person's face. Like every time you make a call, their face appears. Like we never really got that. I mean, we do have FaceTime, but nobody really, like people get annoyed when people call them on FaceTime. But when we have this VR capability where you can literally share a space, like you could have a group of like 8 or 9 people. They're all kicking back. Everybody's like in remote corners of the world, but you really will feel like you're truly, like you spent time with that person. You'll really feel like you spent time with that person. Imagine what celebrities could do to monetize this type of shit. It's like spend 5 minutes with my real VR avatar for $10,000 or whatever. You know, like somebody wants to just be with Justin Bieber in a room, his avatar, it's really freaking him, and share his little VR room with him. That's the future of OnlyFans. All right, that's the future of OnlyFans. But yeah, I mean, it sounds good. We like it. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and bounce over to the Webinator. And we need this up. Yeah, so let's see what folks are saying in chat. Weeble Wobbles. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Weeble Wobble? Has Ant had a stroke? You don't know what a Weeble Wobble is? It's those little Weeble Wobble things. You know, it's just a little Weeble Wobble body and a little Weeble Wobble head. It's just like a little floating, you know, it's like a little floating rec room body, you know? Yeah, so vape lawsuits killed smell-o-vision. Paradise Decay is saying, at VR365, did you see IGN's latest tweet asking people if they think VR is still a fad? No, I didn't, but you know what? There's actually some great comments. I thought there were some good let me show you guys some comments. Okay, here's some great comments, folks. I saw this last night and I thought, oh, this would be great fodder for the show tomorrow if I do a show. Okay, so because this is the antithesis, or these are the exact people we're talking about here in terms of like Johnny Walmart and Sally Coles. So, I mean, these are your average, everyday Joe Blow people that are answering in these comments. These aren't necessarily VR people. So this person highlights create a better social experience. And they say, strapping a VR headset to your face seems to me to be the antithesis of a social experience. And then this guy says, not in times of a pandemic. Yeah, it would have been really, 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 really good to have this advanced avatar stuff in the real freaking pandemic. It would have been so game changer. All of a sudden, we would have had like 200 million people using VR. If we had the real shit. Okay, only if you think of social experiences as an in-person exclusive thing, which they aren't. Think it's hard to argue that. For example, online gaming isn't a social experience. Strapping a headset to someone's head wouldn't change that. Okay, so people are talking about all this stuff. And then this person says, I can't wait for Zuck to have a 3D scan of myself without my consent, obviously. Okay, so yeah, this goes back to the whole HTC Vive Move point. Here's a quote from Quarterburn. It's a neat idea, but since it's Facebook, I'll wait until literally anyone else brings it to their VR device. So there is this opportunity, this Quarterburn person, assuming this person is legit, assuming this person isn't hypocritical as F, with his Oculus Quest 2 sitting in the background while he types this, because there are those people as well. But assuming this is a legitimate individual that really hates Facebook and is really waiting for literally anyone else, HTC Vive Move could be just for you. It could be perfect for somebody like this. My question is, though, are there 100,000 of these people? Are there 50,000? Are there 10,000? Are there 5,000? Are there 1 million? How many people are there that are how many people are going to put their money where their mouth is and go buy a $499 headset compared to a $299 headset? So a $200 premium, no lies beneath, no Beat Saber, no exclusive Oculus games, and you're paying a $200 premium. So Quarterburn, will you do that? Will you do that when it really happens? Of course, he's talking about these advanced avatars coming to that end. HTC ain't got no advanced avatars. HTC can't afford the machine learning algorithms. Okay, so the Reverend Dr. Octopus. Let's see what this guy says. My God, they need to learn how to make an actual good game first. It is insane to me that we are nearly a decade into commercially available VR and it still hasn't had its Mario 64 moment yet. Sure, there are some standouts like Half-Life Alyx, but any game that features that teleporting around nonsense is just showing you that there are things that traditional games just do better. To say nothing about how the cost hasn't gone down in that decade. My cheapest option is to pay $300 to get an Oculus Quest so I can play Beat Saber and a few hour-long Star Wars games that are basically glorified demos. Oh my God, okay, this fool? You need to start doing some Uber Eats, homie, or you need to start doing some Lyft, some Uber. You need to head to your local Burger King and apply, bro. Because if $300, like if you're crying about the Quest being $300, you've got some financial issues, brah. You've got financial issues, brah, because that is cheap. $300 is cheap. Okay, but I do get it. There is this mass market equation. One thing I will say to the whole $300 thing is and I've made this argument before in the video gaming world. I've made this argument before a number of times that it's yeah, we have jobs, we have disposable income, and $300 for us is we don't even blink at a $300 purchase. It's just not that big of a deal. But there are other people out there. There's families and kids, especially. There are teenagers where their entire group of friends, they all have PlayStation 4s. They all have Xbox Ones, but they might not have the advanced, one. They might not have a PS4 Pro. They might not have a PS5, but they're all on the PS4 level, and they can all meet up in GTA Online. So they can all be in GTA Online. They can all play Fortnite or whatever. So they can all still meet up together. They're in the game. But there is an argument to be said where if we do get to a $199, a little, you break that $200, it's a psychological barrier, $199 for a legit Quest. So if we did see a 2-tier system, legit base level Oculus Quest 2 at $199, Quest Pro at $499. I don't know, or $399, Quest 4. Quest 4. Quest 4, yeah, Quest 4 is happening, of course. But yeah, so this person was like, nah, $300 is the cheapest option? Bro, seriously, Uber Eats, man. Okay, Sporkinum. There were some good deals on Oculus VR recently, and I was tempted. That is until I started reading up on people getting their Facebook profiles banned and losing all access to their device. Now, again, I'm wondering, this person, if I search their entire apartment or house or whatever, would I find an Oculus Quest in one of their rooms? Would I? Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe are you really legit? You're really hating on Facebook and you really have no plans. Again, here's the opportunity. Here's your opportunity to buy the HTC Vive Move. Okay, this guy, the current Oculus avatars are ugly as hell. I can't make anything that even vaguely resembles me as I am or as I might be willing to appear. What happened to those high quality stylized avatars they teased over a year ago? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, bro. They poison the well. Poison the well, man. I really feel like they've poisoned the well with Weeble Wobbles. Weeble Wobbles aren't helping things. It's my same argument with the sports and with like Next VR. I hope when Apple bought Next VR, I really hope they saw some like next gen tech that Next VR is using and not based on like the 360 soccer videos and basketball things that people have seen, because I believe that poisons the well as well. I want this higher end stuff. I want it to get to the point where I do see the body language. I do see an entire skeletal structure, not a weeble wobble. I do see eyes darting around. So we're talking about face tracking, ladies and gentlemen, that is coming to this next Oculus headset. It appears, to the next flagship Quest. So if it's a Quest Pro that is coming out maybe this Christmas, probably doesn't have that. I wonder, based like on listening to Zuckerberg, listening to the way that he's talking about things, is it obvious? Unfortunately, I have not heard this podcast yet. But listening to him, I wonder if it's obvious that this is a future-facing technology, like it's coming in a future Quest. Like it's definitely not coming in any kind of Quest iteration that would be released in, say, the next 8 or 9 months. Now, one of the things that you're seeing there, guys, you see that flap, that Kylo Ren. You see these Kylo Ren headsets that people are using. That's not going to fly. So how do they integrate that? How do they make that? Do they have some kind of like sloped bottom and then it has little cameras that... how crazy would this be if they had a headset like this, right? It's got a sloped bottom. You turn on the power button and then these little cameras come out from the bottom to analyze like your entire like mouse structure. Because like, see the Kylo Ren? See that Kylo Ren thing? It's like those smell-o-vision headsets, those Kylo Ren smell-o-vision ones. What is it called? Feel real, smell real, whatever. Like, is that going to fly mass market-wise? I don't believe it will. So how do you track those facial muscles properly? But if we're going to be able to have down-facing cameras that are going to capture our skeletal structure, then you got to imagine they could probably have some cameras that are just focused in on this area here. It should be possible. Okay, so why don't we talk about some games that have been recently unveiled? Because I haven't really talked about, there's been an explosion, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, PlayStation VR is back from the dead, ladies and gentlemen. Have I mentioned that? PlayStation VR is back from the dead. I had to dust the thing off. And one of the things that I've had to do is go to VR Game Rankings and actually update the top 40 most wanted PlayStation VR games, upcoming PlayStation VR games. And there is a lot of movement. There is a lot of stuff that's happening. And for a system that is completely dead, for a system that is dead as a doornail, like the PlayStation VR is, I mean, it is dead. Okay. For a system that is dead as a doornail, it's got a lot of shit coming, man. It's got a lot of shit coming, and we don't even have everything up on here. For example, Hell Split Arena isn't even in this rankings, and I found out, well, they're working on Hell Split Arena for PlayStation VR. But let's talk about some of these most wanted games. You know, this is just an example. So After the Fall, I'm not going to show the trailer for After the Fall. Cinematic trailer doesn't do a lot for me, but hey, we are checking for this game. I am incredibly excited for this game. It is coming summer of 2021. What does that mean? That means I believe it is also going to be on the Oculus Quest. I believe there is going to be a simultaneous release across Quest. Well, hold up. We might be looking at a Quest 2 exclusive, guys. We might be looking at a Quest 2 exclusive. After the Fall being delayed to summer 2021 so that it can launch simultaneously across all VR platforms other than busted-ass Quest 1. Sorry, you're going to have to get a Quest 2. Even though you got way better OLED, way better vibrancy on those visuals, way better comfort for those of us with ginormous IPDs. Okay, Sniper Elite VR, missing in action like a mofo. Missing in action, like, where is Sniper Elite VR? Rebellion, what are you doing? When we first saw this game, it was previewed with an aim controller. Kind of felt like it was going to be a PlayStation VR timed exclusive. Not sure if that's going to happen. We're still waiting for information on Sniper Elite VR. Wraith the Oblivion. If you go to VR Game Rankings and you look at a lot of our different rankings for the most wanted games coming to all these different platforms, Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife has jumped way up the charts. I am incredibly impressed. I'm particularly impressed with the Oculus Quest 2 version of Wraith the Oblivion. And I'm torn because my Oculus Quest 1 has better black levels, and this is a horror game. But the Oculus Quest 2 has these enhanced capabilities, and I believe Fast Travel Games actually went the extra mile to really try to make that XR2 chipset sing in Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife, but is currently ranked 3rd on the PlayStation charts. What about Zenith, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, hold on. Hold the F up. We're going to move over here, and I just want to show you guys the new Zenith trailer, and I wanted to talk about Zenith because I got to completely admit that I thought Zenith was one of the most overrated games out there. Like, I thought this game was crazy overrated. Like, I couldn't believe they got so much money with that Kickstarter. You know, they had this emotional Kickstarter and everybody just freaking flooded them like it was like some kind of like telethon thing. They just got so much freaking money. But Ramen VR, I like what they're creating here. I kind of get a Phantasy Star Online almost vibe a little bit. Like, I've never been an MMO type guy anyway, so I don't really do these MMO things, but I'm liking the vibe. I like the looks, and I think this is looking a hell of a lot better than I ever would have thought it was going to look. Now, they do this flyby, like this drone flyby of this village, which looks really cool, but empty as can be. Like, there's nobody anywhere. So it's like, oh, you can make a cool-ass city, but where's the people, brah? Where's the villagers? Not exactly Grand Theft Auto like in that aspect. Okay, there's some people walking around. Okay, now we have some people scattered about. And so it's this giant MMO world, Zenith. And another thing though, this game is dramatically rising up the charts. It's rising up the charts. Number 4. You want to talk about a game that has really jumped up the charts. Fracked coming in at 5. So Fracked, here's one where we did get, this is an interesting announcement in regards to Fracked because, let's see, do I have a Fracked trailer? Yeah. This is an interesting announcement in regards to Fracked because this is exclusive to PlayStation VR. Like, what a bizarre reality with PlayStation VR. Like, why did PlayStation VR... Like, okay, I talked a lot of smack about PlayStation VR, and I know a lot of people probably want me to eat a lot of crow because it's obvious that Sony has not completely forsaken the PlayStation VR. But they did for a long period of time, man, and you can't deny that. If you go back to 2020, like, if you go back to a number of different months, there was like nothing on PlayStation VR. Like, if you're one of these people that want to buy like a big brand new game every month, you were out of luck if you had a PlayStation VR during a lot of different months. And even if we look at recent releases for PlayStation VR, other than Hitman, like if you take away Hitman, like what has come to this platform in the last 90 days? So there was a long period of time where Sony really wasn't doing nothing. They weren't announcing nothing. Nothing was coming out. It was like a wasteland. And so I think it was fair to criticize, but it's really puzzling to me. Like, why did they do that when they obviously have these other games that are coming? Like, why didn't they tease a couple of these games? I don't know. It's kind of weird. So anyway, this is Fracked. The developer is In Dreams. This is coming to PlayStation VR this summer. Obviously, we can tell that it has a bit of a Borderlands art style, a little bit Pistol Whip, a little bit Borderlands. Enemies look a little bit like, the name of that game, Farpoint? No, can't remember the name of the game, but yeah, so I don't know. This is Fracked. It's coming this summer. Now you're not on a kayak, you're on some skis, and there's a lot of different movement options. You're going to get some climbing capability. You're going to be running around on foot. Looks pretty good. I don't think this is that incredible, but it does look pretty nice. So Fracked coming in at number 5, Undead Citadel. This is a game that has disappeared into the mist. Like, what the F is going on with Undead Citadel? Dark Curry, we haven't heard from them in quite some while. And then, of course, coming in at number 7, Doom 3 VR Edition, developed by Archiac. Did you guys know this? This is developed by Archiac. Now, the interesting thing about that is, like, I would think that, or it should be legal, in my opinion, for games that if somebody makes a mod of like an officially licensed game and they don't technically have the rights to like make the mod and use your freaking assets or anything like that, like I think it should be legal. I think it should be perfectly legal for id Software to basically just steal whatever anybody has already done and be like, yeah, that's our effing game. You made the mod, thanks, we're taking it and we're going to use it. We didn't bother you, we didn't sue you, everything was there, you had it. Okay, but now we're taking it. Like, did they really have to pay Archiac all this money to actually develop this thing and to like get it? And the PlayStation 4, like the strangest, PlayStation VR, like if somebody told me, I said the same exact thing on Next Dimension podcast on MRTV, but it's like, this game reminds me of 2016. This game reminds me of when I first got my HTC Vive. The other funny thing is, this game is on the Oculus Quest, and everybody and their mama is playing it on the Oculus Quest, and you got millions of people with Oculus Quest, and a lot of people have played this Doom game on an Oculus Quest. And I'm sure id became aware of that. I mean, I'm sure Bethesda, ZeniMax, all of them, I mean, they have to know that. They have to know that there's like probably 20,000 people at least that have played this on an Oculus Quest 2. And so they're like, hey, let's monetize this shit. Let's get it onto something. I mean, I don't know. How long has Archiac been working on it? We also found out, of course, and Archiac, by the way, developers of Evasion and Free Fall, the diving game. So Archiac, coming on March 29th. So quick turnaround time. So all of a sudden, bam, it's coming out. Does anybody know the price on this game? I'm curious the price for it. And I'm just wondering, I mean, you can see like the graphics aren't that great. It probably is a good decision, that this could run on base PS4 hardware pretty well to work with PSVR. So that's why I think we're seeing Doom 3. And, if it's fast and furious, it works with the aim controller. Doom 3 VR edition. So, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of new announcements for various PlayStation VR games. I Expect You to Die 2, that's still coming. Population 1 still coming. VR Vin Adventure, Firmament, Blunt Force, Alvo, Humanity, Song in the Smoke. So, PlayStation VR, Wins and Leaves by Trebuchet, developers of Prison Boss. So there's a lot of games that are still coming to PlayStation VR, and that is an exciting thing. Now let's go ahead and take a look at like the top 40 most wanted Oculus Rift games. Let me see. I think we updated this recently just to double check on here, see how some things are shaking out. Yeah, so Lone Echo still in the number 1 spot. Resident Evil 4, it is a rumor at this point in time. After the Fall coming in at number 3. Project 4. Wraith moving all the way up to 5. Vertigo 2. Lo-Fi now in at number 7. Zenith coming in at 8. Firmament, Sniper Elite, Lawn, Green Hell jumping up to 12. Undead Citadel 9. Warhammer 40K, Age of Sigmar. So Star Wars Pinball is a new arrival to the list, coming in at number 20. I've played the pinball games on Zen Studios, and I mean, it's fun. They're fun. I believe it's a little bit overrated. Like, I believe a little bit of the hype on Star Wars Pinball, a little bit overrated, but maybe that's just me. But yeah, so not a lot of changes here. Cosmo Dread, of course, is going to be coming later this month. Mass Maker coming on April 20th. And Wraith is April 22nd on the Rift. So it's weird how we're getting this like staggered release window for Wraith. Like, they're just coming out and saying it. They're just like May 25th on Steam. Like they're basically just saying, here's the window. Here's the exclusivity window. We're just putting it out there. So April 22nd, you can get it on Rift and Quest, and then on Steam on May 25th. So a bit of a delay there for Wraith the Oblivion. But yeah, let's go back over to Upload VR. Alrighty. Let's see. What else did I want to cover that I didn't cover? Oh, Apple. I didn't talk about Apple at all, right? So the new Apple rumors, or the new information that came out with Apple. Let's see here. Do they have it on Apple VR headset, $1,000. Okay, so Mac rumors. Okay, so apparently there's this guy, Ming Chi Kuo, is a TF International Securities Analyst known for predicting Apple products and moves over a year in advance. Apple Track gives him a 78% accuracy rating. Okay, so this guy says that Apple will release a sleek VR headset in 2022 with color cameras for mixed reality. It's expected to be standalone like Oculus Quest, but thinner, lighter, and more powerful. And he says that Apple is using Sony micro OLED panels. Micro displays are also used in Panasonic's ultra compact VR headset concept design. Yeah, I know Panasonic is using Koppen Corporation for their micro LED displays, micro OLED LED displays, and Apple apparently is going to use Sony. Like, that is super interesting to me that they're going to use Sony. Sony is literally selling knives to somebody that's going to come back and stab their ass. Like, you got to wonder about that. And also, is Sony going to use their own micro OLED displays in the PlayStation VR 2? Probably not. Why? Because it's a peripheral, and a peripheral can only cost so much money because you got to buy this other thing. So anyway, they're also claiming that the prototypes currently weigh between 200 and 300 grams, but that they have a target weight of 100 to 200 grams if Apple can solve certain technical problems. The Quest 2, for example, weighs 500 grams, so this would be significant. And the price is expected to be around $1,000, similar to a high-end iPhone. It's unclear what kind of input the headset will ship with, and they're just talking about like a thimble-like device and the other stuff. And also that the AR headset is now going to be 2025 at the earliest. I could have told you that. Like, anybody can tell you that. Like, AR is so far behind where VR is at this point in time. So, like, a legitimate AR product, like a real AR product, is so far away. I don't consider the InReal like a real deal AR product. So I'm not using that. And like HoloLens 2, no. Magic Leap 2, Magic Leap 1, no. I'm talking about something from like Facebook or Apple or Samsung where it's like they're really going after it with a legit AR product. It is so far away. But we can talk about the Apple situation here for a quick second. So Apple is apparently going to be getting into this VR game. I mean, this is pretty obvious, folks. We have a lot of information. It keeps stacking upon itself. Everybody keeps talking about the same rumors. So this does appear to be a real thing, and it's incredible for everybody involved. And if it's $1,000, obviously that makes it much more accessible to the grand public at large. Also, if Apple, like, if what they're really doing here, see, I think of all the companies out there, this is one company that is actually taking Facebook seriously. Like, this is like, dude, Facebook is like completely dominating an entire division of technology. They're completely unchecked. No one is doing anything. This is the argument that I made with Sony when it came to PlayStation VR 2. This is an argument I'll continue to make. There is a friggin' monster in the forest, and it's just going wild. And I believe Apple is well aware of this. They understand that this is going to be a new computing platform, that spatial computing is an entirely new thing. Roni Abovitz is right. Yes, spatial computing is a thing. The spatial verse or whatever, the magic verse, like, this is going to happen. So spatial computing is very important. And I think Apple recognized that Facebook has such an unbelievable lead. They're building this ginormous ecosystem of content. And Apple's probably more worried about all the non-gaming content than so much of the gaming content. But Apple understands that you cannot let a competitor just run away with no impunity when you're going to have to possibly battle this competitor at some later date. So this has to happen. And I think $1,000 price puts it much more in range. It would put it right where the Valve Index is. It makes it like a really high-end headset, but it also keeps it within range so that people don't, because if it's $3,000, like, no one is even going to think about it when it comes to the Quest and when it comes to this. And there could be a situation where in 2022, this headset comes out, and even though a lot of people can't afford it and they can't afford a Quest, because it's Apple and because of the power of Apple and because of everything that's going on with Apple, some people will make a decision where they'll be like, I'm just going to wait for Apple. I'm just going to wait for Apple to deliver me the VR. It's a little too much right now, but they're going to look at an Oculus. It's kind of like this is an old game that they did back in the days where like Sega would announce that they got some brand new thing coming out. And then like a month before the brand new thing comes out, Nintendo is like, secret Nintendo project revealed, So all they want to do is just plant a little doubt. Plant that seed, just a tiny little bit of doubt in somebody's head. So when they're looking at that Quest 3 in the window, they're looking at that doggy in the window, they're at Target or Walmart, they see that Quest 3 in that glass case sitting right next to that PlayStation 5 in your base, killing all your dudes. They see that, right? And then they're like, yeah, that looks so good, but Apple's going to take care of me. I've always been an Apple person. Apple has this incredible VR headset. I can't really afford it right now. It's a little too expensive right now. I'm not going to do it right now, but Apple's going to bring the price down, so I'm not going to get that little Quest 3 in the window. That could be part of their strategy, is to stop the bleeding and to basically stake some claim in this spatial universe. Because if we look at the spatial universe, Facebook has just beachfront property like you wouldn't believe. It's like the entire West Coast is just all Facebook all along the coast. They've got that beachfront property, and eventually there's got to be some other companies that are like, we can't just allow this to happen. With just no, we can't. We got to check this company. We got to do something about it. And I believe Apple is going to get into the mix, and it's going to happen in 2022. Color cameras, the mixed reality. Like, I'm really excited about the whole LiDAR aspect of this thing. Like, the LiDAR aspect is going to be exciting because, when Apple comes in, they could come in really big, and they could have these like next level applications that Facebook hasn't got around to trying yet. Like the whole live maps thing. Like, if Apple drops their standalone headset, and it's like on day one, you can pick up this standalone, and on day one, it's like analyzing your room and knows chairs and tables, and it just freaking understands your room like on day one. You know how impressive that's going to be? And I don't know, is Quest 3 going to have that? Is Quest 3 coming late this year? Late 2022, and it's going to have that kind of technology. It's going to have the live maps capabilities. We know Zuckerberg, of course, was talking a lot about these advanced avatars, and that is huge. And I think that's something that Apple sees as well. Apple's probably much more worried about the deny distance campaign and Office and all of that, this remote, all this remote working, this work from home. You don't think all of that is part of this entire thing? And where's Google, by the way? Where's Google? Because when Apple makes a move, Google is not far behind. I know a lot of people think Google is done with VR and they'll never return. There's no way in hell. There is no way in hell that Google is done with VR. Google will return with both VR and AR. By the way, I did want to thank, I've gotten a number of super chats. So Duked19, thank you so much for your super chat. Let me see if I can scroll back and find, got a couple super chats today. Rudel Zavedno, not a super chat, but I saw Rudel Zavedno in chat. Caleb VR, real life not included, a $20 super chat. Damn, bro, you didn't have to do all that, but thank you so much. I do appreciate it. That is awesome. Yeah, we haven't done a show in a while. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at chat. Let's see what some folks are talking about. Onakaze. While they shoot for the moon in sales, Apple can sustain a hardware line on their acolytes alone. Products of theirs that people call failures have sales that other companies dream about. Dr. Doty says Quest 3 will sell like hotcakes. Eric Hartley in chat. Apple doesn't need games. They just live off of their brand. iPhones sell just fine without a robust Apple Arcade platform. And Rudel Zavedno. This is hilarious. Trip on this, folks. Trip on this. Yesterday, no joke. Yesterday, I was at work. Okay, I was at work. And during one of my breaks, I had like a couple of minutes and I actually checked Upload VR. And it was some Upload VR story. I forget what it was about, but I clicked on some miscellaneous Upload VR story. And then I was looking at the comments and I saw Rudel Zavedno. And I was like, Rudel Zavedno. I used to love saying that name. Rudel Zavedno. And here I am. So when I was working yesterday and I saw Rudel Zavedno's name, I chuckled. I chuckled about it because I remembered all the times I would say Rudel Zavedno. And I thought to myself, but I had no idea that I would be doing a show like literally 24 hours later. 24 hours later, I'm doing a show. I had no idea. This was a random thing here. The place that I work, there was a problem with the building, that like a electrical problem or something. And so basically we couldn't go to work today. This was completely and utterly random that I happened to have some time to do, an impromptu episode like this. Yeah. So anyway. That's funny. Rudel Zavedno. Yeah, but no, we did get a couple of super chats. But okay, Caleb VR. Unfortunately, I don't think I can scroll back. I think someone else did one earlier. Apologies. State of VR with a super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So, Eric Hartley says, Google appears to have given up. There's no way. Google has not given up. And I'll tell you why Google hasn't given up. In fact, I will show you why Google has not given up. Let's see here if I can find it. Yeah. So Google has not given up because Google knows about light fields, baby. They love their light fields. See these beautiful light fields? Yeah, so one of the things I was mentioning with like poisoning the well, and I was talking about Next VR, which of course is Apple. We gotta hope that Next VR has some serious game-changing technology for like sporting events and concerts and not the stuff that we saw earlier. There needs to be a revolution. There must be a revolution in the video portion of VR. Where is our video revolution? Well, this might be it. Google is working hard on light fields, and they're not doing this for shits and giggles. They're not doing this for shits and giggles. Google will be back into VR in a major way. They're going to be back into VR, and they're going to be back into AR. So there's no worries at all. There is no way on God's green earth that Google is going to allow Facebook and Apple to just control VR outright. No, there's no way. That is not happening. So Google will be back. I guarantee you they've got hundreds of engineers working on stuff right now that we have no idea. The problem is Google, it's the timing of everything. And so Google was bullish and they were early, and they were like 5-6 years too early. So that was the problem with Google. So anyways, what are we doing here? Sorry, somebody just called me on Skype and surprised me with a call. But yeah, so Google is not quitting, so there's no worries about that. All right. Let me switch back. Is something wrong with the stream? Like, am I having a problem with the stream? So let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about. I've been going for a while, so I'm probably going to shut this puppy down here in a minute. But I didn't know if there was any other little things I wanted to mention. One thing I can talk about briefly is Ancient Dungeon VR. You know, I talked about this, of course, on MRTV's show, and it is hilarious. Like, it truly is hilarious that for like the 4 or 5 days before I did that episode on Next Dimension Podcast with like Eric Tholen and all that, the developer of this game, I was playing this like whenever I had time to play VR, and it's like, okay, I'm going to chill and I'm going to play VR for a while. I went over there and I grabbed my Oculus Quest 2 and I fired up the App Lab version of Ancient Dungeon VR. And I haven't even tried the brand new update. Like, I have not tried the brand new update that has happened in this game recently. But I just love the feel of this game. It is so incredible. It's incredibly simplistic. There isn't a lot that's going on with this game, but when I was playing it on my Quest 2, first of all, I played this on my CV1 via the itch.io download, which you can pay a couple of dollars if you want, or you can be a cheapo and just download it completely for free. There's an itch.io version that you can try in your PSVR headsets. I played that first, and I really enjoyed that. Like, I had a good time with that, but I wasn't like totally blown away by it. But then it was later when I was trying all the App Lab games that I happened to try this on App Lab, and it's like, it just feels so good. And I don't know if it's like some weird placebo effect just because I like being wireless and the comfort of just doing that. Like, I don't know about, but it just felt good. And just like taking my sword and smashing those vases, it just, the rumble, the haptics, and even like scraping my sword accidentally on something, like the collision detection. There's something that feels good about this game. I like this game. I'm a fan of this game. It's taking forever for the game to finally come out. One thing I probably should have asked Eric about, or maybe even like offered some advice to him, is like, just get out an early version that costs money so you can start making money. Don't let this be a budget cuts 2 thing, where something's available for hell of years, and then by the time you actually charge money for it, everybody has moved on. That's one thing I sometimes worry about when these developers give away the store like this with really nice demos. But yeah, I've been playing this recently. This is like my go-to thing. I don't know why. It is my go-to thing. It's pretty simple, like the monster, but I think maybe it's the simplicity. Maybe it's so simple, and there's something about like the walls and everything and the lighting where it just has this like firm, rigid feel to it. Like, sometimes you can go into some games and they have incredible graphics, but like the walls that you're going through are like maybe moving a little bit, or they don't seem like rock solid. There's something that's just so solid and just feels good about the Quest port of this game. I just think it did a great job with the Quest port. But I mean, you look at the graphics and you're like, of course this would be an incredible Quest port. Of course it would be easy as pie, but like, it does flow so nicely. So I've played that recently. You know what I played last night? I can talk about something that I played last night. So last night, speak of the devil, Viveport Infinity. So this game, 1976 back to Midway. So here's one of the downsides of Viveport, ladies and gentlemen. I love Viveport. I cannot recommend Viveport enough. It is such an incredible value. It truly is. But if there is one negative about Viveport, is it'll show you all these different games that are coming soon, and it can take a long time, man, for these things to finally arrive. Because when did this game actually come out? Like, I can't remember when this game actually came out on Steam, but it just got onto Viveport like a couple of days ago. I don't know how long this has been on Viveport, but I just noticed it finally, because every time I would go look for this on Viveport, it would say coming soon. And now it's finally on Viveport. And this is the perfect kind of a game for Viveport. This is exactly what you want in Viveport. Something that you can pop on, you can have some fun with it, but maybe you don't need to get like fully invested in something like this. It's great when you have a Netflix of VR, games that you can sample and you can have like a short burst experience. This is a great short burst experience. And like the 3D, like those of you that are fans of like retro gaming, if you had a Sega Saturn, back in the Sega Saturn days, there was a lot of overhead shooters like this, overhead vertical shooters. Like the Saturn is filled with a lot of incredible games that fit this category. Most of them on the Japanese Saturn that never came to the USA. But if you played those games and enjoyed them, you will really get a kick. I have a buddy, a good buddy, that's like a retro nut job, right? He has his own YouTube channel, really good YouTube channel, Classic Gaming Quarterly. And if I showed him this, like, he would really enjoy the overhead parts of this game where there's like 3D explosions and stuff that's coming up in the air, and you have like these different, like you really get this super solid 3D effect. Like this effect right here. I enjoyed that part of the game. Then you also have these immersive modes where you click on something and you go into an immersive mode, and then it goes into either you can have like the first person view or you can have a chase cam or whatever. And I don't know, I wasn't in love with the immersive views as much. I more liked the overhead, just this classic shooter, but like planes coming from outside and then going in, like things dropping in, things coming out, very, very 3D. However, you know what I will say? Like, you think I'm like loving this game, right? You think I'm like, oh, Anthony loves this game. But honestly, let's go over here to the Steam page. 1976, back to Midway. Yeah, so this game's $15. There is a demo on Steam. I did try, I tried the demo when it first came out, but the demo is unbelievably short. Like, the demo is a teaser like a mofo. So it's like bare minimum. It's not one of these demos that you're going to download and it's like, yeah, I got a lot of juice out of that demo. You are not getting a lot of juice out of this demo. You are getting like microscopic amounts of juice out of this demo. But you do get enough of it to see the cool 3D effects and to understand that. But from the price and everything, I mean, look, it's not that expensive. It's $15. That's not that expensive. And the reviews are very positive. But as I was playing this on Viveport Infinity last night, like I was going to level 1 and level 2 and level 3 and level 4. And I was like, this is starting to get kind of repetitive. It's kind of the same thing. Oh, like these levels are looking very much the same. I only went through like 4 different levels. And I'm mostly interested in this overhead view. Like, I don't really like I wonder if I can go into the options and completely turn off like all the immersive crap and just stick with the overhead view, because I honestly like but like these overhead view levels, like I didn't feel like there was enough variation. Now, I didn't see something like this. Like, that looks a little bit different. So maybe I just need to get a little bit further. I only played like 4 or 5 stages or whatever. So I didn't play it for that long. But I kind of did get this idea, like, I'm kind of glad I'm playing this on Viveport, because if I paid $15 for this, so there's a lot of games, folks, that if you're fine with being entertained for a weekend, and there are people out there that are perfectly fine, like they will buy a game like this, 1976, back to Midway, they'll spend $15 on it, and they'll play it on Saturday, and they'll play it on Sunday. They'll play it a couple hours on Saturday, a couple hours on Sunday. They'll never play it ever again. They might think they will, but they never end up playing it again. So they just play it for a couple of days on a weekend, maybe 5 hours total. They paid $15, and they're perfectly fine with that. They're perfectly satisfied. They got some good juice out of it. They enjoyed it. Maybe they're not really thinking about like the dollar cost averaging situation there, and they're perfectly happy with that. And I understand that. And if that's you, then yeah, go ahead and buy this game. But there's other people that are like, I paid $15. It was fun. I spent about 2 hours playing it. I enjoyed it, but it just started to get monotonous after. I mean, that's the negative. Like, if I want to go negative here, it gets monotonous, and the immersive crap is not really worth it. But it sounds like I'm like shitting on this game. I'm not shitting on this game. This is damn good. Like, I like this. I enjoy this. Just don't know if I'd rush out to pay $15, but Viveport Infinity, baby, a deal of a deal. A steal of a deal. All right, well, I think it's time for me to get out of here, brah. But yeah, Simplex with a donation as well. A super chat by Simplex. Thanks so much. State of VR, Duke 19. And earlier in the program, Caleb VR. Real life not included. Yeah, and I think there may have been somebody that did a super chat earlier and it's not scrolling all the way back there. So apologies to whoever that was. But I definitely appreciate it. So yeah, this was fun, guys. It was cool to come on and do an episode out of the blue like this. Just random circumstance, about as random as it gets. you know, an electrical problem at our building. Our building's closed, so can't go into work. Just a snow day, basically. It's like a snow day in Sacramento. So had an opportunity to chill. Thanks for everybody showing up in chat. We've got like Paradise Decay in chat, Phil Yarn, Onakaze, Rendered Reality, Travelin' Man 3775, Panzer Dragoon. Any new info? Haven't heard anything in a while. Alex VR. I haven't talked to Alex VR in a minute. Paolo Triani, my boy. Virtual Strangers, Do It Yourself VR channel, Mame Fan. Mame Fan, yeah, Mame Fan. You want to talk about? I bet you Mame Fan has some long ass videos on like back 1976, back to Midway, because that's definitely his style. All right, but yeah, that'll go ahead and do it for this particular episode of VR 365. Next time you will probably see me is probably Saturday on MRTV, Next Dimension Podcast. Check me out over there. I'm still going to be doing videos on this channel. I haven't like completely given up on this channel or anything, but it's just going to be sporadic. It's this channel is not like a giant priority for me. But I still definitely will do some videos here and there, and VR 365 is not going away anytime soon. And, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But yeah, that'll go ahead and do it. So we will see you guys next time. Everybody take it easy. Have a good one. And later.